Hi everyone, this is Shem Phillips from Garphill Games, and today I'm going to be showing you the solo version of Hadrian's Wall, which is our upcoming game designed by Bobby Hill. I'm not going to go into all the rules, but hopefully you'll get a bit of an idea as I start playing the game. The game is played over 6 years or rounds, depicted by these 6 slots above your player board, and each round you're going to be drawing 2 cards from your player deck, choosing one as a path, which is like a bonus scoring and a bit of direction for you as a player, and the other card is a prospect, which gives you some resources, yourself a scouting pattern, which is kind of like a little Tetris thing in the game, and also yourself and your neighbours a potential trade good that they can get. And I'm going to be the black player. All the decks are identical. They have 12 different paths and 12 different potential prospect things on them. And I'm going to be playing against the blue general, and that's for the solo mode. What it's going to do is reveal 2 cards each round, and I'm just looking at the scouting pattern, the trade good, if I'm using that, and that's it actually. That's all I'm looking at. And if I decide to use their items, their pattern or their good, I'm going to be placing either a soldier or a resource on that card, and that's going to make me draw additional picked cards that attack each round. So not ideal, but that's there if I want to. It kind of simulates what happens in the multiplayer game, where you can actually give other players goods and knights or soldiers to use their cards as well, which usually would benefit them. So in the solo mode, it kind of simulates it a bit by making it harder to attack with the attacks. So I'm going to be doing the standard mode, which is these yellow banners that you can see along the top. So in the first round, I'm only drawing 1 picked card, and that's going to attack a certain left, center, or right cohort. But I don't know what it's going to be. These are all random. There's a whole bunch of them, and they're all balanced. So it could be, I can sort of start to do this a little bit. If I get really badly hit on the left side early on, I might not feel the need to defend it so much in the late game. But these are going to ramp up. So first round I'm drawing 1, and by the 6th round I'm drawing 10 cards. And my potential to gain Valor or Disdain will also start to go up as well. The main thing that you're trying to focus on in the game is to build up your wall and your cohorts with your wall guards, kind of your defences against the pits. If you don't do that, you probably won't win the game. That's intentional. The game is meant to be quite thematic in that respect. But that's all this kind of side with your fort and your resource production, that kind of stuff. And on this sheet, you can kind of focus your strategy. There's 5 different areas of the civilians. You've got the traders, the performers, the priests, the apparatoires, and the patricians. So you can kind of tailor your strategy to those, but you don't want to just do that and neglect this. You definitely want to focus on this as well. So I'm just going to get stuck straight into it. To start the game, each round we're going to reveal 1 of these cards, and same for solo and for multiplayer. You're only looking at this part here. So these are the additional things that I get. So I'm going to collect those, and I'm just going to keep them. I'll put them over here so you can kind of see what I've got, I guess. So I've got 2 soldiers, 2 builders, 2 servants, 1 civilian, and 1 resource. I also gain by default 1 resource because I've got 1 circled in thing in my resource production, and I'll be able to increase that throughout the game. So that card has done its job. I'm now drawing my top 2 cards off my draw pile and looking at what I want. So the first one is Engineer. That will score 1, 2, or 3 points at the end of the game for each large building I construct, which there are certain buildings that say the word large on them. The Defender is completed wall sections. And it's always good to build your wall. You don't have to build the whole thing, but it's good to build a bit. So they're actually giving me the exact same resources, the same scout pattern, but different market good for my opponent, which doesn't matter in solo. So I will go with the Defender as my path. So I want to try and complete the wall sections. So I tuck that under there. This one would usually sit just up here for other players to see as well. I'm just going to put it here so you can see it. There we go. So I'm getting another worker, a builder, and a resource. And yep, make sure you guys can see these. And then, because it's the solo mode, we're going to reveal 2 of these as my opponent's prospect cards. So if I decide to use scouting, which I may do later, I could use either of these patterns, but it's going to cost me 1 soldier. Or if I want to do the market, I can use their trade goods. They've got 2 and 5, and the 5s and 6s are rarer, so getting a 5 early is good. But you can always risk it with the deck as well, so I don't have to give it to my opponent. Alright, so I've got these goods, and I know I want to build wall sections. So what should I do first? Building the fort is always good, because if you build the fort, you can then get access to the wall and the sippy, which you get the main defences, and the wall guards, also good. I'm going to spend 1 soldier and fill in the first section of my wall guard, which gives me 1 cohort. So to fill in one of these 3 cohorts, I'm just going to go for the right. Why not? So if this card comes out and it's the right, I've defended against it. Alright, what will I do next? I do have a few builders. I could potentially build my small hotel. Probably not my workshop because I don't have too many resources. Let's start by putting in 1 builder into my fort, which unlocks my level 1, which lets me allowed to build the medium granary if I wanted to, which I could afford to, but I don't need it yet. I'm going to spend 1 resource on the wall, which gives me a civilian. So now I've got 2 civilians. And the first round you can kind of, if you want, drop your civilians in any of these tracks really, and they'll give you back workers or resources. What I might do, I think in this game, I don't often focus on the priests and the gardens, which are really good. So I might actually try and push myself in that direction. See how I go. So I'm going to spend a civilian in the priest section, which gives me back a servant. And I'm going to put 2 servants up in the mining and foresting, which gives me back a resource, the second spot, and also unlocks 1 more resource production. So next round I'm getting at least 2 more resources. Alright, next move. I really don't want to sacrifice my soldiers if I don't have to, because I want to I really want to save them for the wall guard if I can. What I could do, I'll do 2 more builders on the fort, which unlocks level 2, so I could potentially get close to building the small hotel if I want to. I also have access to the small temple already, which could be quite good in the first round. What I might do is I'll spend my civilian up in the performers to get another builder, and I could build that small temple, although I wouldn't quite have the workers to benefit from it. Oh, it's tricky. I also could even get a second cohort up here. That might be a better idea. As much as I want to get that out early. Okay, I'm going to spend 2 resources up in the wall, which gives me another civilian, which I could use to get back. I could get a resource too. Alright, so I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to spend my my soldier to build another section of my fort, which gives me another civilian. And I'm going to spend a resource to continue the wall, which gives me 1 renown and 1 cohort. I'm just going to leave the middle wide open and see what happens. Alright, so I've got a bit to work with. I'm thinking if I spend this down here in the patricians, I can get a resource. Because I have level 1 on the priests, I have access to build the temple, which costs me a servant, a builder, and a resource. And building that gives me 1 piety. And I could put that civilian in the temple, but I'd be better off actually probably advancing something else first. If I place them in the apparatoires, I get a builder. At least I'm advancing those tracks. And the builder could either go into the training grounds, the fort, or I could just put it in the temple, all of which do not really help me this round. So what I might do is put it in the training grounds. So here you can spend a builder and basically train them up. You put the year down that you're using, cross off the sword, which gives me one more of my wall guard, which gives me one discipline. The idea of that one is that you're setting you're training up your builders to become soldiers. Right, so I'm out of resources and out of workers, so that is the end of the round. We're going to reveal. I didn't place any workers or resources on the opponent's cards, so I'm not drawing extra cards. So this tells me I'm drawing just the one card, and we have got a hit from the picks on the right side, which I do have one defense, so I defend it, which is great. And because I do that, this tells me the potential is 1, so I gain 1 valor. So I've got 1 renown, 1 piety, 1 valor, 1 discipline. So a good balanced Roman. Alright, and that's the end of the first round. So next round, we are revealing a new card, which would go for all players. And that's no resources in that one. That's rough. Right, so I'm getting 2 fighters, or soldiers, 2 builders, 3 servants. So I might end up boosting my production this round with those guys. Or they could be really good in the temple as well. 1 civilian, and I'm gaining 2 resources from my resource production. This was my card from last round, so I'll get rid of that. And then I draw 2 more cards. So I've got the Pontiff, which is points for filled temples, so that's pretty good if I want to do that. And the Aristocrat, which is final disdain. I've already got a lot of servants, so I think playing the Pontiff as my path. So I want to fill the temples up with workers. So that's going to be my path for year 2. And this means I'm going to be getting a yellow and blue, which is a builder and a civilian. And I will have this scouting pattern available if I do scouting. I'll leave that there, and then we'll draw 2 more for the AI, for my opponent. So they have those patterns and those goods, both goods number 1, available for me. And at the end of this round, we're drawing 2 cards, 2 picked cards to invade. So, alright, I have all these things to work with. So, if I unlock 3, I could then do the small workshop, which will get me more builders each round, which could be good. I don't have many resources. That is the biggest problem right now. Which is not too bad, as I want to work on the temple more. So, what will I do? I might try and hold off from doing the granary as long as I can. It's tough. I should probably continue the fort at least. I'll do 2 more on the fort. 2 builders on the fort, which gives me a civilian and a discipline. Okay. And if I spend 1 resource there, I'll get another civilian, which I'm not sure if I need currently. What I could look at doing is building, oops, actually I messed it up. I shouldn't have got that discipline, so I'll just commit to that. Spend that instead. Alright, if I spend this guy, which I probably should, I'll get another cohort up in the wall guard. So I'll just balance it out. I've got 1 defense on each. Okay. What I should probably do is maybe look at getting a bit of these, the engine building kind of buildings, just to boost my economy a little bit. Otherwise I might stall out. So that would be the small hotel. But then I'd need 2 more resources for the small workshop. The best way to get resources is the small precinct, which I would need to put a lot more workers in there. I think it's still worthwhile doing the small hotel. So I'm going to build the small hotel. That's 1 builder, 1 servant, 1 stone. So I fill that in, which means I'm going to get an extra civilian every round, and I get an extra civilian right now. So that's good. I'm going to commit, I think, if I don't use any resources, I might spend 2 of these civilians in my priest track, which gives me back 1 servant. And then, what I could do, I'll spend 1 more, which gives me a piety. Now if I spend, I might do 2 servants in the temple. So I fill up the first one here, and the second one gives me this little fate card, and 1 piety, which actually gives me back a servant. So the fate card means that if I draw a card, I can choose to cross it out and ignore one of them. So that'll hopefully avoid a bit of disdain. And I've now filled 1 temple, which is at least 1 point from my pontiff card. Alright, so the next temple requires 3, which I have, but I need 1 more stone and 1 more builder. So it's probably not going to happen. I could look at building the small gardens. I'll just need 1 worker, which can't quite get. 1 builder, I mean. I got 1 civilian there. That would my stone go on too. That would be quite good though, because it would fill up quite a lot of spots. Can I do it? Well, actually I could. I could use the forum to turn 2 servants into 1 builder. No, sorry, a servant and a civilian. So instead of doing that, I'm going to spend the civilian first in the priest to get another servant, and then spend 2 servants, this is year 2, to get 1 builder. And with my servant builder and resource, I'm going to build the small gardens, which gives me 1 piety, 1 trader, which gives me a 7 back, 1 performer, and 1 priest, which gives me another piety. So pious. Alright, and I have 1 servant left, which I think at this point will likely just end up going mining and foresting. Alright, so I didn't make too much progress, sadly, but I do have some defense going, so we're drawing 2 cards. Let's see how we go. So, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, so that's defended, which is great. And the potential for that one was 2, so I gain 2 valor, which immediately gives me a soldier, which is great. Alright, next round. So this time around we're doing 4 cards, 2 potential. So, revealing just the 1 card from here, and gaining all these things for the next round. So 1 more soldier, 2 builders, 2 servants, 1 civilian, and 2 resources. And from my production I get 2 more resources, and from my small hotel I get 1 more civilian. Right, so the card's gone. Get rid of my one here. Oops. And draw 2 more. Alright, so we have the trainer and the planner. The trainer scores points for total gladiator strength, which is this area here, which I haven't really worked towards yet. I could, but the Ludus Gladiatorius kind of requires lots of workers to be kind of thrown at it for training, whereas I'm using the workers more for filling the temples, so they may not synergize unless I build the large hotel. Completed citizen tracks, which is completing these, so completing 2, 4 or 5 of them. I'm already on quite a good path for that, so maybe I'll go with the planner. Otherwise I might feel forced to go into the gladiators and it might not work for me. Oops. And that means I'm getting 1 more resource and 1 more servant. So that's my prospect card for the round. And we'll reveal 2 more for my opponent, which goods number 1 and 2 and that L shape. Alright, so round 3. What is my plan for this one? I could build the medium temple straight away, I think. That would be probably a good idea, and I could actually fill it this round if I really wanted to. But I have to be aware of my defences. I've only got 3 and we're drawing 4 cards, and I've only got 1 fate card, so that's a high chance of me getting attacked. I do have a lot of resources, which is good. It is really good. What's a good move to open with? I think I will build the medium medium temple first. So I need 3 on that track. I have 3. So that's 1 servant, 1 builder, and 2 resources, which immediately gives me 1 piety, which gives me back 1 servant. Yep. Alright. So the large gardens would also be good, but that requires 7, which I only have 1 away from. I could build that and that would give me a whole bunch of things down here. But let's not neglect the other side. Another good thing could be to boost my resource production, but that would require at least 2 more of these to get traders. And building my medium granary is also quite important because I'm starting to get very close to that line, and you have to build it before you can cross over. Same goes for the large granary. I know I want to build the wall, I want to fill the temples and complete these tracks. So I'm going to spend 1 resource on the wall, which will give me another civilian. Yeah, I'm going to build the granary, so that's a servant, a builder, and a resource. So now I have access to this middle section of the Sippy wall and fort, which is good. I do have 2 soldiers, so they're good for either the wall guard or just similar. They can be used down in the patricians quite a bit for scouting, so that's another possibility. I could scout. I need 1 more on this track first though. Or they could be put in as diplomats, but I need 1 more resource. So diplomats are kind of like fate cards, but they give you 2, but it's on a specific cohort, which could actually work well for me. If I do fill in 1 more here, I'll get a worker. So I could actually fill this round with these guys. I could use these to basically fill the temples, which wouldn't be a bad idea. There's so many choices, good choices. Alright, I will place both my soldiers in the wall guard, which gives me 1 discipline, which gives me back a builder. Now, I'm getting really low on resources. If I had 2 more, I could get that cohort. The other ones on the tracks are quite far away. It's not ideal. What else could I do? I could potentially build a small road if I work towards it, which helps you boost each of these tracks each round, which would be nice as well. What I might do, I'm going to spend my builder, trade him up to be a soldier, and get that wall guard up for another cohort. I'll just keep going with my pattern. I'll go on the right first. Okay, so with these guys, I'm going to spend at least 1 over here in the priests. That gets me another servant. I could put 2 servants up here in the mining and foresting. That would get me more resources for the next round and this round. That's an option. But it might be smart for me just to actually start filling these up and then just drop them all in the temple. I could even work towards the courthouse, which is a great way of getting more workers. Choices. Let's go with spending 1 in the performers to get a servant. So at least I'm advancing that track, which is good for my goal. Now if I placed all 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, I wouldn't get that last spot, which would be a bit pointless. It would get me 2 piety. I need 1 more to make use of it. I do have one resource, so there may be something more beneficial I could do with that. Okay. I could actually build that large gardens. That might be a better move. So, if I spend 2 servants up here, I'll get a resource and 1 more production for next round, which is good. And then I'll need to save that and the 2 resources. I'll need a builder, which I could use the forum, but there may be a better option somewhere else. Doesn't look like it. Alright, so I'm going to use the forum again. It's round 3. Spend these 2 to get a builder. And with all that, I'm going to build my large gardens, which gives me a piety, and then basically 1 of each civilian, which is good. So I get a trader, I get a performer, I get a priest, which gives me a piety, a paratoire, and a patrician. So that was unfortunately a lot of the blank spots, but that means the next time I use those tracks, I'm going to be getting a lot out of them. Alright, so I have a total of 4 defense plus 1 fate. I didn't fill my temple at all, which was sad, but we'll see. Drawing 4 cards. So 2 in the middle, 2 on the right. So that means that I defend the 2 on the right, but I do that 1 through on the cohort on the center. So I either would gain a disdain, or I'd cross off my fate. So I think I'll cross off my fate. So I'm using that, and the potential was 2, so I'm getting 2 valor. Otherwise, if I hadn't used my fate, I would have gained 1 valor and 1 disdain, but I'm going to try and avoid taking disdain as much as possible. Alright, next round. So the next round there's going to be 6 cards drawn and potential of 3. Alright, so the new card for round 4. Not bad. 2 soldiers, 1 builder, 2 servants, 1 civilian, and 2 resources. And from my resource production I get 3 more resources. This is going to be good for building the wall. And I will get 1 more civilian from my small hotel. And then get rid of my card, draw 2 new ones. Alright, so for a path we have the merchant and the forager. Merchant is about getting certain different types of collector goods. Actually not different types, just any types for the actual path. And the forager is about boosting resource production. So 3, which I've done, is 1 point, whereas this is currently 0 points for me. So I'll go with the forager. And that means that my prospect for the round is giving me another civilian, another resource, giving me the big square icon for scouting. And for my opponent, goods numbers 2 and 4 in that S shape. Alright, so once again, I want to build the wall, I want to fill the temples, fill up these civilian tracks, and now I also want to increase my resource production. So I'm pretty well set up with these civilian tracks to just drop a bunch of them and get more workers back, which is great. And I have a lot of resources, which is also good. I'm quite far up on the performer track, so I could build the theatre, which allows you to spend resources to gain more things back and more points on these tracks, which is good. I'm at level 4, so only these first 2 are available. I think I'm going to build at least 2 more spots on my wall first, which gives me another cohort. So let's just, oh actually, yeah, I'll go left. We'll go left. And now, do I use my soldiers for the war guard or for the diplomats or the scouts? I could get a diplomat, which may actually save me a lot of disdain this round, in the next few rounds. So yeah, I'm going to do that. So the first diplomat requires only 1 on the patricians track. It costs me 1 soldier, 1 servant, and 2 resources, which is a bit of a cost, but that gives me a valor, which actually gives me my soldier back. That's good. So I get that. Now I circle both of these. I've got 2 favours, and I have to now declare which cohort this goes for. So I'm thinking I'll leave the middle one like less defended, and I'll just try and use the diplomats to encourage the Picts not to attack down that cohort. Alright, so that's that part done. Next steps would be, well, I've only still got enough technology infrastructure to go to the small workshop. I should be boosting that fort more probably. If I spend, do I spend both? I think I will spend both resources. Oh, sorry, not resources. I need to spend workers, wouldn't I? I can probably change some things here actually. I'm going to put another. There's lots of good options. I can actually get a lot. I can get 1, 2, 3 soldiers this round. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There'll be a lot of war guards. I could even get another diplomat if I really wanted to. Oh, it's tricky. I'll spend 1 civilian in the priest, which gets me this servant. I think I'll just put both those servants straight into the temple. I've got to do it, got to commit to it, which gives me a piety, which gives me back a servant, so it wasn't too costly. So my priest track is done, which is good. I could even potentially build a large temple, but I think I'm going to fill the medium one first. And what else could I be looking at doing? Okay, I'll put a builder on the fort. It gives me back a civilian. I think I'll actually put both these guys on the fort as well. Unlocks level 4 and gives me a civilian. So level 4 infrastructure lets me have access to the small road. I'd need another servant and another builder. That would give me a piety or a discipline, and then 1 every round. Just trying to optimize. I think I'm going to drop all 4 of these civilians in the traders, performers, paratoires, and patricians, which will give me back 1 builder, and then it's 1, 2, 3 soldiers. So bringing in civilians and trading them up. Alright, so these guys would either go into the war guard, potentially get another diplomat, or do some scouting, or continue work on the fort. My other choices would be potentially try and get 1 more resource and build a small workshop, but I don't think I'm so focused on that. I think I really want to use these soldiers wisely to then get other workers back. So scouting is a good idea for that. If I use my scouting pattern, that's not bad. I'll do that. So I'm going to spend a scout, which is my first one. I need 2, which I have, and I'm going to use my pattern, which doesn't cost me anything, and fill in the square here. That gives me a resource and a servant. So now I've got options. I could build the small workshop. I could even build the small road. The workshop would actually give me back a builder straight away. This would give me a piety or a thing. They do have 3 rounds, so this is worth technically 4 points. This is going to get me extra workers every round, which is also really good. Alright, what is my move? I mean, I could even use these guys just to fill that temple, which would also be good. Gosh. Actually, that's probably a good idea. I'll build my small workshop with my 3 resources, which gives me a builder. Now, I only need 4 of these to fill that temple. So I could use these 4, and then these 2 could continue the wall guard. That's an option. I can't quite scout again because I only have 4. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to put both of these onto the fort, because that does give me back 1 civilian. And then a civilian could be put somewhere else, which is good. Could get me a renown, a discipline, nothing or nothing. And those wouldn't give me back anything. So, I think, well, if I do that, then I could scout again. That'd be 2 for 1 though. It's not bad. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to spend, make sure I'm going to mess this up. Yep, going to spend 1 civilian here, which gives me a renown. I now have enough. I have 4 on the patrician's track, which allows me to scout the second time, which costs me a soldier. I'm going to use my pattern again to get another servant. Now, if I fill both these with a pattern later on, each row you complete immediately gives you a valor, which is putting me in a good way to get more soldiers. However, I think I may be committing all of these guys into the temple, unless I can see a better use for them. The next soldier only gives me, gives me nothing, so that's not ideal. Yeah, alright, I'm going to spend all 4 of these guys in the temple, which is going to give me a total of 2 piety and another fate, which is good. So 2 piety, and that is the end of round 4. Alright, so I'm drawing 6 cards. Ouch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I do have 2 favours down the middle from a diplomat. I also have another fate, so that's good. Alright, I'll lay these out so we can see them. Left, left, centre, right, right, so 2 in each. So I've defended all of this, which is great, and I have defended 1 of the middle. I could either use my fate or my diplomat to block this one, and I'll use my diplomat since it's focused on the middle one. So that's 1 favour going for my diplomat, which means I defended everything, and that's 3 potential, so that's 3 valour. So 1, 2, 3 gives me another soldier. So far no disdain, and that's probably the first time I've ever done that in a game, so usually I'd have some disdain by now. So that's good. Alright, so round 5. And these are what I'm getting. I'm getting 2 soldiers, 1 builder. I'm getting 2 servants and 1 civilian and 2 resources. In addition to that, I'm getting 3 more resources for my resource production. I'm also getting from my small hotel 1 civilian, and from my small workshop 1 builder. So starting to get that working. And second to last round, I have the choice of the fighter or the architect. So the fighter wants completed cohorts, which are these things at the top. I'm not doing too well on that. And the architect wants completed landmarks, which are these big buildings down the bottom. I could potentially build the monolith, which requires 15 piety and would give me discipline, which would be probably good. I'm close to the valor one as well. So landmarks might be doable. Having that pattern would be great though for scouting. That would give me 2 resources back and 2 valor, so that could be a really good prospect for me to keep. I may, who knows, I may end up completing 2 cohorts and just leaving the middle one. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll keep the fighter as my path and try and complete 1 or 2 cohorts, and then I'll use the architect as my prospect, which actually gives me 2 more resources. And I'm probably going to try and use that pattern down the side of my my map for scouting. Alright, so 2 more cards for the opponent. They are offering goods numbers 2 and 6 and those scouting patterns. So luckily I haven't felt the need to use them, but they're always there if I do need them. If I don't been doing the market, they've been really good because we had the 5 and 6. Alright, so what is my plan? I would like to build a large temple. I would like to increase my resource production, but it may not end up happening. I've only completed 1 citizen track. I need to do at least 1 more to score at least 1 point. And the wall sections, which I'm not doing too well on my paths. I'm really just focusing on trying not to let the picks attack too much. This round we're drawing 8 cards, so this could get ugly. Alright, so opening moves. I have 5 on my infrastructure, so I could build a large granary. I could also build a small road. That's not bad. I get a party straight away. Yeah, I'll do that first. Alright, so the small road requires 2 servants, a builder, and 1 resource. I'm not going to get much out of it. It immediately gives me a piety or a discipline, so I'm going to get a piety, which gives me a civilian back, a servant back. Which does mean that I'm also going to get next round, I'll get 1 more boost on one of these tracks, which could actually really help. So, probably should have built that last round, but oh well. Next moves. I don't have too many servants, which isn't good. I can't build a large temple without 1 more servant. Then I could build a theatre. Oh, that would actually cost 1 anyway. Building this would be great too, actually. So I should probably advance my fort at least 2 spaces. Alright, I know I want to scout. I would need to get to level 5. So let's do that. Let's spend 1 of these, which gives me a resource back. I've got a lot of resources. I could really just throw them all at the wall. That could be a good idea. Alright, so I'm going to scout first though. Just spending 1 soldier. I need 5 on that track, which I have, and I'm going to do my pattern, which is going to go down this way and give me 2 resources, and I've now finished 2 of the rows, which gives me 2 valor. So that's good. Alright. I've got so many resources. If I drop 1, 2, 3, 4 resources on the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's given me 2 renown and 1 civilian. That also gives me 1 from my renown and another cohort, which I'll just keep up my pattern going, and we'll go discipline from that one. Alright, that felt good. Okay, so still no close to build my large temple. I need 1 more servant, which I could get if I dropped in 2 in the performers. What else could I look at doing? I could even just drop a bunch in the sippy of my resources. Where else would I want to use my resources? Either for the market, for the theatre. I don't need it in the bars, luckily, because I've got no disdain, which is good. Or building things. Okay. Yeah, I want to focus on building that large temple. So, I'm going to save these ones for that. I need 1 more worker. I'm going to spend 2 of these in the performance track, which gives me a thing. And I'm going to build it. There we go. Let's build a large temple. All that gives me another piety. And now I've got that available to put workers in, which I don't want to do just yet. Alright, I'm going to spend, I think, all 3 resources on my sippy. Although, if I put 2 workers in there, I could just get more out of doing the wall. Actually, I'll do that. Alright, I'm going to put both my soldiers in the fort. which gives me a discipline and another cohort, which I'll go here, which gives me another discipline, which gives me a builder. Nice. Combos. Alright. And I'm going to spend all 3 resources on the wall, which gives me another civilian and another cohort, which will keep that pattern going strong. Although, I do have one more here on the middle, and yeah, I'll go here. I think it's been pretty balanced so far on what I've been hit on. So, alright, what have I got left to work with then? 2 civilians and a builder. I can't go past this line yet, so there's no point putting them builders in here. Actually, I filled up that wall completely up there and the forward. So completed wall sections, I've actually got up to 2, which is good. So that's 2 points. Temples, I've filled 2, which is 2 points. I've only finished 1 civilian track so far, citizen track. So, Roost Production's getting 1 point. Haven't finished the cohorts. So, I'm likely going to put these guys somewhere of benefit. I can get renown, discipline, and more builders. Renown. Actually, I get 2 renown. That'll get me a worker back. So I'm going to spend this guy in the sky. Gets me a renown and a renown, which gives me 1 more citizen back. And then I'll use them. Oh, I've got to think about the temples too. I do want to for the temples. What do I want to do? Get a worker, discipline. Worker. No, I think I put them in the temple. That way I'm getting a piety, which is a point, and getting close to that goal. Yep, alright. I put both of them into the large temple, which gains me 1 piety. Alright, that is the end of round 5. So I'm drawing 8 cards. 8. Alright, here we go. Wish me luck. Alright, so it's 4 hits on the left. Unfortunately, 1 gets through. 2 on the middle, so 1 gets through, and both defended on the right. So I've got this to deal with. So I could avoid the middle with my diplomat, which is good. So that one's avoided. That diplomat's now done his job. And for this one, I could use my fate, which I think I'm going to do. I'm just going to try and hold off this disdain as long as possible. So that means there's 3 potential. For that one, so I get 3 valor, which gives me another soldier. Alright, that goes away. This is the last round, and this is my card, or everyone's card if there are more players. Getting 2 more soldiers, 1 more builder, 2 more servants, 2 more civilians, 1 resource. And then from my production, I'm getting 3 more resources, 1 civilian, 1 builder. And then from my small road, I can choose to boost any one of my 4 attribute tracks. Piety or valor would give me a servant or a soldier. I think I want the servant. I think. Get rid of that card. Well, the soldier would also be good, but I do have 3 of them already. Yeah, I'll boost my valor. If I boost my valor, I could build the column, which would boost my piety. So they'd combo well together. So I'm going to boost my valor. That will give me a soldier. Alright, so my last choice of path and prospect. The vanguard is completed wall guard sections. I've completed 1, so that's worth a point currently. And completed scout columns, which I think I'm going to aim for. So the ranger would be really good to keep. Although I need his pattern to actually finish what I want to finish. So that's, yeah, it's kind of rough. Currently he's worth a point as well, so he's worth just as much as that one. This gives me a bit more as a prospect, so I'll use that for my prospect. And we'll put the ranger as my path, which I get another civilian, builder and civilian. So this is what I have to work with, and Oh, I could use that to finish off the scouting. Even just using this one would actually give me at least 2, so it's still a point. If I did use that twice though, there'd be 2 more cards, and currently we're drawing 10 cards, so not ideal. Alright, I think I want to build the column first. So that's 1 builder, and because that's 1... Oh no, I didn't go for that in the end. Oh well, I'll still do it anyway. So the column, I need to have 15 valor, which I have. I spend 2 resources and a builder. Gives me 2 piety, which gives me a 7 back. I could actually build the monolith, because I now have 15. I will. So that's a builder and 2 resources. And that gives me 2 discipline, which almost gives me a worker. Alright, so that's 2 of the big landmarks built. Probably should have chosen that path in the end. Oh well. I wonder if I can get away with not even building a large granary. I can get potentially 1, 2, 3, 4 more on the of cohorts without doing that, which would let me finish that one. But I also want to do the scouting potentially, and I want to finish my large temple and finish these tracks. There's lots of things I want to do. Alright, I think I'm going to drop 3 of these. Actually no, I put... Where is it? Scout, citizen tracks. I need to get 4 or 5 to get the next step. I know I can get this one easily. I can get 3 quite easily, but doing 4 or 5 is quite difficult. I don't think I'll be building any more. My production thing is this round. So, I'm going to drop... I think I'm going to drop all 4 of these. 1 on the performers, and then all 3 here. Get it done. So I get 1 builder, 1 soldier, then I get a renown and a resource. Okay, that's looking alright. I really want to get those cohorts for this last attack. Getting 1 more fate would be great as well. I mean, if I did get... Yeah, I could even get another diplomat, but I can't use the middle again, which actually means I'm going to get smashed down the middle if I'm not careful. Alright, what's the game plan? Okay, getting that cohort's expensive. It's going to cost me 3 stone to get to it, whereas this one I could... Not doing wall guard sections. I'm scoring off the wall, which I've done 2. Temple, I've already done 2. Citizen tracks, I've done 2, which is a point, or 3. Production, I'm only getting a point. Cohorts, I haven't done any yet, and then I've done 1 scout column. So, what should I be doing? 2 more workers in the temple would finish that, and give me a fate, and 2 piety, which gives me a renown, which is good. So it's definitely something I want to be doing. I could even use the training grounds and basically drop 6 to finish off that, which gives me 2 more cohorts. That would be pretty good. We'll also get some workers back from doing it. And if those guys all go in the temple, they might be my best play. And then see what I get back. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to start by doing 2 soldiers in the wall guard, which gives me a discipline, which gives me back another builder. I'll do 1 more, oops, which gives me another cohort. I'm going to focus on this one, which gives me a valor. If I do 2 more, or do I want to save them for the scouting? It is worth potentially 2 more points. Well, also it gives me more valor, which is also even more. But that would be requiring that, which would really wreck me, I think. Tough decisions. Alright. Okay, I can do... I'll put 2 in the temple for now, which gives me a piety, which gives me a renown. Just trying to get some more chains happening. Got no civilians, so I can't use them there. feel like this resource is going to get wasted. I could build the theatre, which would give me a renown, which would give me back a civilian. It's not, it's a bit of a... Although getting that diplomat would be really good on the left side, I think. But that would cost quite a bit. I need one more resource. Those guys could go in there. They could be... Yeah, that's tough. I just think I'm going to get really hit hard by these picks in this last attack. Which, if I'd only get 1 or 2 to stain, it's not too bad. But if it all comes down the centre cohort, I'll get wrecked. So I really want to fill that temple. I know that's a definite. Just trying to think the best way to do it. I just don't know if I want to scout. If I use my own scout pattern, I can only get a resource and complete 1 more column, which actually isn't any more points, so it's not worth it. If I did both of them, I'll be using those, so that's 2 more cards, but they would give me 2 more Valor and 2 more points and 2 more resources, which would let me get 1 more cohort, which could actually help to counter it. I don't know, is it worth the risk? There'll be all those guys gone though. I can still fill the temple. Maybe it's worth it. Oh, let's just do it. Alright, I'm going to spend both of these on this card. Let's just give it a shot, which lets me basically finish off a square there, a square there. Which gives me 2 resources, and that's 2 more completed rows, that's 2 more Valor, which gives me a discipline. Alright, I may live to regret that, but who knows. I think I already am. Now I can't actually do the wall guard. I can only do 1 section with the training grounds. So I'm going to put I'm not sure. I mean, I could. Nope. I think I'm going to put 2 of these into the temple. Yep. That gets me a piety and another favour, or fate. So that's good. I could spend all 3 of these to go in the Mississippi just to get 1 more cohort, which would give me another discipline. These 2 wouldn't be really making much use of. This might actually ruin me in the end. Probably not the best move. Oh well. It could even be the large granary, but that's just... It'd get me a civilian from the renown I'd get from it, but then I wouldn't really be making any use of it, so that seems kind of pointless. If I use those 2 in the forum, I can get a civilian, which could let me get a discipline. So it's only using 2 for a point. Other options, I now have 6. So I could build a large hotel. But again, they'll give me they'll give me 2 civilians. That might be worthwhile. 2 civilians to get me in a discipline and a worker back. I can't put another landmark yet. Even building the market could be an option. It's potentially get me... Oh no, I actually don't have enough there. Now I'm just overthinking. If I put it in, if I build a theatre, I get a renown, I get a civilian back. I could actually use any of these, which could let me get a piety, which is good, but the priest would be wasted. discipline and a paratoire, which is not bad, especially 2 discipline, that's pretty good. Maybe I do that. Right, if I build a theatre, it gives me a renown, which gives me a civilian. Now if I put 1 resource, you can only do 1 performance per year, so I'm going to do one of these. So that's pointless. That's not bad. It does actually give me a soldier back. In the discipline, this gives me a piety, which gives me a servant and another servant, which is not bad. This will give me a discipline and an apparator, which is basically 2 discipline, which is gets me a worker back. And it's 2 points. I think I'll do that one. So I'm going to do this. That's year 6, which gives me that, which gives me 2 discipline, which gives me him. Alright, almost there. I'm just doing all the crunchy last minute decisions. Now, I've got a civilian, which is good. Probably best to put them in the apparatoires, which gives me another builder. And the builder and 2 resources, 1 resource. Not much else I can do with these, I don't think. I could put them to the forum to get 1 more civilian, which gets me a discipline. That's probably my best move. That's about all I can do. Oh, actually, I could actually. Oh, no, I haven't built the large granary. Alright, yep, I'm just gonna do this. It's round 6. Let's get a civilian. Let's put that civilian in the apparatoires to get another discipline. And my last resource, I can't really do anything with. So I'm just going to drop it in the sippy, which does nothing. But that's the end of the round. Alright, so this could be messy. I'm doing 10 cards plus 2 more for that. So that may destroy me. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 2 more. Hopefully it's heaps on the right. We'll find out. I don't like the middle. Oh no, that's nasty. Oh, that's so bad. Alright, that's defended. I'm only defending 1 of those. I'm defending 3 of those. Oh, this is really bad. I can block 1, which really makes no difference. I'm taking 4 disdain, and that is how you ruin yourself in Hadrian's Wall. By trying to push your luck too much. Alright, so that's 4 disdain, which is, it equates to 7 negative points. That is a really bad way to end the game. I was doing so well. Alright, that is the end of the game. I'm just going to tally up quickly. So I'm getting 9 from my renown. I'm getting 18 from my piety. I'm getting 18 from my valor. I'm getting 13 from my discipline. My path cards. Right, I'm getting from my wall sections. So I'm getting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, nothing. 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 from my path. I'm losing 7. Negative 7 from my disdain. So my total score is, what we got? 36, 45, 58, 68, 61. So not a horrible score, but for me, playing the game quite a number of times, I should be trying to score a bit higher than 70, I think, usually. But if I hadn't taken that last hit, that would have been a much better position. Hope you've enjoyed watching. The multiplayer plays very much the same, except that you're now interacting with players for the scout patterns, giving them workers, giving them resources for the market goods. Thanks for watching, and see you later.